Hey, how y'all doing out there? Did y'all hear about Smokey Robinson having them old ladies twerking with bad knees? He might be worse than Diddy is. They suing him for over $50 million. I don't want to believe it's true, but wherever there's smoke, there's fire, especially when your name's Smokey.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when I read the complaint. Graphic details of sexual assault, too graphic to even discuss on TV. But you have four individuals who were employed as housekeepers, all Latina women, who are essentially making the same allegations of very serious rape, and that Smokey Robinson would rape them, some of them dozens of times. And what's really fascinating about this case is really the number of victims who are telling the same story of sexual violence. And when it comes to sexual assault in a he said, she said type situations, it can be tough to prove a case like that because jurors are sometimes skeptical of the testimony of one victim. But when you have victim after victim telling the same story, that can be too much for an accuser to overcome. And of course, these are just allegations. But what we do know, covering sexual assault and sexual abuse cases, is oftentimes abusers abuse more than one victim. It doesn't matter whether it's a Jeff Epstein or a Bill Cosby or a Harvey Weinstein or a Diddy. When these allegations happen, oftentimes others come forward. And here, the allegations are very salacious, Christina.
Yeah, I want to put up some video as well that we have there of the singer. I mean, he's had such a long and illustrious career, made one of the biggest impacts on the music landscape here in our country and around the world. But diving a little bit deeper into some of those details as well, apparently we would first like to know that Robinson's longtime wife as well, Frances Robinson, has also been named in this lawsuit, with all four of those women claiming that the singer's spouse had full knowledge of his prior acts of sexual misconduct and failed to take the appropriate corrective action as well. So let's talk about this as far as it involves her as well. Is she going to be dragged into this court case with her now being named? Can she potentially be liable for any of these accusations that have now been made against Smokey?
Christina, she is potentially liable. So let's separate out the sexual assault, I'll call those the personal injury claims, and the employment claims. These were employees, and Mrs. Robinson was their employer. So there are claims here of sexual harassment, a hostile work environment, failure to pay wages, minimum wage, and overtime. So for those claims, Frances Robinson may be liable as the employer. Obviously, the most serious allegations are against Smokey Robinson. And if you read the complaint, he would allegedly assault these women when his wife was not home. She dropped her off at the nail salon, for instance. And the allegations are that then he would rape these women, or he would rape them where there were no cameras, so his wife couldn't see. So that's something that obviously, if you are looking at the liability in the case and the damages, obviously a sexual assault claim is worth a lot more than an employment claim. But that doesn't mean those employment claims aren't valid or they aren't serious. The plaintiffs are asking for $50 million. And if they prove that they were raped repeatedly by Smokey Robinson, I wouldn't be surprised if they get into the 8-figure range if this case goes all the way to trial.
So did they show up to work or play? It sounded like they was cleaning the brothel. Who gonna be working hard cleaning all day, then turn around and give somebody some booty? Well, I ain't gonna act like it ain't never happened before, because y'all know back in the day and still till now, a lot of them cleaning ladies do a little extra service for whoever the man of the house is. This is common work. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby with his house cleaning lady. So a lot of women out there, they do a little something extra on the side. I seen it. I dated a woman that was dealing with people after she was cleaning their houses. She come home all sweaty, extra funky. I knew what time it was. Staying overtime. It don't take that long to clean nobody's house. Come home 3, 4 in the morning, bow-legged, talking about she was cleaning all night. So it does go down. But hell, what happened? Did his genitals retire? Smokey Robinson couldn't get it up no more. That's why they suing? Because it was all good when he was able to penetrate. He 80-something years old. His meat must have checked out. Now they trying to cash out.
I have to ask you, are we going to see criminal charges coming here?
Potentially, yes. And that's one of the questions people always ask as well. If the rape happened, why haven't we seen criminal charges? So what I tell folks, and I represent rape victims. It's what I do right now as a former federal prosecutor. I don't do any criminal defense work. I just represent victims like the victims in this case. And, oftentimes victims will go to law enforcement, and law enforcement will present the case to the DA, and the DA chooses not to prosecute. Sometimes prosecutors, they can be soft on crime. We had a former district attorney here in LA County, George Cascon, who had that reputation. Christina, you and I have talked about this at length because he was the one who recommended the resentencing for the Menendez brothers. Maybe, and again, this is just speculation, maybe his office declined to take the case, or maybe that the victims decided to move forward with just civil claims. But I can tell you, I've been in the LA County District Attorney's office many times, meeting with sex prosecutors, trying to convince them to accept these cases for prosecution. And sometimes they don't, because they want what they consider a layup or a slam dunk, and they don't want to take the difficult cases. That's why, if you look at statistics involving rape victims, just a very small percentage of the perpetrators aren't or brought to justice. Many times the victims don't come forward because they don't want to relive that trauma. So some of it is underreporting, but some of it is these cases not being taken seriously by law enforcement or prosecutors.
And as we're talking about this case, we just touched on Diddy extensively, but you mentioned it earlier. Another name that comes to mind, especially when you're considering the age bracket of some of these allegations, Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, all facing some of these same allegations. Could any of that be seen as sort of a precedent for how this case may be handled, A? And then B, on the other side, if any criminal charges are filed, it would be shocking almost to see Smokey Robinson spend his last days behind bars if convicted.
It sure would be sad to see Smokey Robinson in jail for the rest of his life, being accused of doing something he probably not even able to do. When they go to trial, he need to pull down his pants and let people know what's up, or what's down, or what's ain't been up in a long time. I don't believe he got it. I don't care how many Viagra's you popping. You 85 years old, you ain't working with nothing. He'll surprise me if he able to even get it up to please anybody. He gonna have to do something mystical in that courtroom and show them what he working with. It's either that, or he gonna have to go to jail and pay them women $50 million. Is it one or the other? Cause Cassie got paid $30 million from Diddy, and he still ended up going to jail. So it's a possibility Smokey gonna have to give them the money and do the time. What type of justice is that? It need to be one or the other.
It would be shocking, but it wouldn't be unprecedented. And like you mentioned, a lot of those cases, they were initiated by civil lawsuits, right? Bill Cosby made admissions during a civil deposition to drugging women, and that's what really resulted in the criminal prosecution. Obviously, we know that Diddy's case was started because Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit. So sometimes it's these civil plaintiffs' lawyers that really initiate this process. They get the information, the evidence, they provide it to law enforcement. So I know people sometimes say, well, this is just shakedown or extortion. These are just ambulance chasers. But really, sometimes civil justice is the tail that wags the dog. And if these allegations are true and you really have 4 women who were raped repeatedly by Smokey Robinson, I wouldn't be surprised. The new district attorney, Nathan Hochman, his office picks up the case. I know they put out a statement that they haven't received anything from law enforcement yet. So I think that's something that we'll be following very closely here.
And lastly, Nima, we haven't heard from Smokey himself or even his legal team in the wake of some of these allegations. What would you, though, expect to hear from them in the next few days, or any court filings which you expect to see in a response to this civil lawsuit?
Christina, I would expect to see a denial. And as someone who sued a lot of musicians, Kanye, Lizzo, Jason Derulo, which tried a case against Soulja Boy, normally the strategy in these types of cases is to deny and defend and sometimes delay. So that's what we'll see here. Now, Smokey Robinson reportedly has entered into some settlements related to previous lawsuits. So the question is, what happened here? Did his defense have the opportunity to settle this case? We know Diddy had the opportunity to settle Cassie's case. And he didn't do it, and that's the reason he's in this situation. Was Smokey's team given this opportunity? Did they make a lowball offer? Were they unable to come to some sort of settlement? Or did this lawsuit come out of the blue and there was no pre-lawsuit negotiation? We really won't know what went on behind the scenes unless Smokey's team tips their hand or the plaintiff's lawyers tell us. But the vast majority of these cases do settle. Often, I would expect this case to settle as well, because we know that just a small percentage of cases actually go to trial, less than about 2% in these types of cases.
Well, it is certainly something interesting, and we'll continue to follow it right here on Live Now from Fox. I do want to thank Nima Rahmani, friend to the show and legal analyst, for helping us to break down some of these very serious cases on each coast there of the country. Thanks so much for your time, Nima. I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Thanks, Christina. Looking forward to talking to you real soon.
All right. Did want to bring that to you here on Live Now from Fox. And as we've been talking about Smokey Robinson and this sexual assault lawsuit that has $50 million that those victims are now, or alleged victims are now seeking, I want to play out some of those moments that we got from that press conference earlier today with some of those victims' lawyers speaking out and explaining their case. Let's listen in.
This really made me wonder why they picked Smokey Robinson out of all of the Motown legends that have allegations come out about him at this point in time. People's trying to figure out ways to get money out of people while they still got the money. I'd be surprised if Smokey Robinson had $50 million. He ain't no pro athlete. Back when he was selling records, it was 10 cents a vinyl. Where he get $50 million from? He gonna go broke trying to pay these people back. He ain't gonna be able to buy no medication or none of that. I know he good with them kale greens and things. To be as old as he is, I know he eating right. He got to be living right too in order to be surviving this long. If he was really out here skeeting off and skeezing off, he probably would have been dead a long time ago. Why now? That's what I want to know. But at the same time, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. These people probably wanted to say something way back then, but what you gonna say? He's Smokey Robinson. It don't get no more legendary than that, but seeing what's going on with Diddy, people got the heart to testify, tell their side of the story, get out there and let women know that you ain't got to be afraid to talk about these weirdos and these creeps. I know for a fact that there's men out there taking advantage of their fame and celebrity to get what they want out of women, and that ain't right. But if it's consensual, it's consensual. And I know for a fact Smokey Robinson got plenty of women that's willing to do whatever it is he want to do. All he got to do is show up to church. People will stop what they doing. Smokey Robinson in the house. They'll put the Lord on the back burner just to celebrate Smokey Robinson. The choir gonna stop all them gospel songs and be sitting up there singing about the tears of a clown. All he got to do is show up to bingo. People gonna give him all of their chips. If he wanted it, he can get it. But some people don't want what they could easily get. Some people like to take things by force, and if Smokey one of them type of men, that's a shame that another legend being accused of doing something they ain't had no business doing.
Thank you for coming here today. My name is John Harris, and this is my partner, Herbert Hayden, with the firm of Harris and Hayden. 3 of our 4 clients are present here today. They've been identified as Jane Does. There's one appearing remotely who you can probably see on the screen. Also is Miss Guzman, who's interpreting for us today. This is to announce that earlier today in Los Angeles Superior Court, we filed a complaint against William Smokey Robinson Jr. and his spouse, Frances Robinson. The principal causes of action against Mr. Robinson in particular are sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment. Obviously, these ladies are identified in the lawsuit as Does, Jane Does 1 through 4, to protect their privacy. since the lawsuit involves sexual misconduct of the worst sort. We're seeking damages of $50 million. Obviously, no amount of money can compensate these women for what Mr. Robinson subjected them to. But given the gravity of Mr. Robinson's despicable and reprehensible misconduct that is further detailed in the complaint, this amount is clearly warranted. Our four clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage. As low-wage workers in vulnerable positions, they lack the resources and options necessary to protect themselves from sexual assaults throughout their tenure as employees for the Robinsons. Let me briefly summarize each of their individual claims. I repeat, I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference. But you can read them in the complaints that we have provided with many of you today. Let's talk about Jane Doe number 1. She worked for the Robinsons for a little over a year, from January 2023 to February 24. Mr. Robinson first sexually assaulted and raped her in March of 23, as detailed in the complaint. What he would do was summons her to his blue bedroom, which you'll probably be hearing about later on. After having just showered, he would come out of the adjoining bathroom naked and proceed to force her to have sex with him against her will. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 7 times. She quit in February 2024 because she could no longer endure these sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 2. She worked for the Robinsons from May 2014 to February 2020. Smokey Robinson's modus operandi was somewhat different with her. He would ask her to meet him in areas in the home where there were no cameras. There were 2 such places or areas in their Chatsworth home, the garage and the laundry room. When she would meet him at this location, he would immediately begin to sexually assault and rape her, causing her excruciating pain. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 23 times. She was forced to resign because she, too, could no longer endure Mr. Robinson's sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 3. She worked for the Robinsons as a housekeeper from February 2012 to April 2024. Her story is quite similar to the others. Mr. Robinson would call her into his blue bedroom where he would sexually assault and rape her. This occurred approximately 20 times. And like the others, she quit in April of 2024 due to the repeated sexual assaults against her. Jane Doe number 4. She worked the longest as the housekeeper for the Robinsons. From October 20, 2006 to April 2024. He raped her in 3 of their homes, namely the Chatsworth home, the Las Vegas home, and the Bell Canyon homes. He had a preoccupation of fondling her breasts and touching her all over her body against her will. She too quit in April of 2024. The obvious question that one will ask, and I suspect most will, why didn't they report Robinson's criminal misconduct to law enforcement or go public before now? As I said before, these women were all low-wage earners living from paycheck to paycheck. They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. Also, Smokey's Robinson celebrity status intimidated them and all made them feel powerless. I want to add that these 4 women were afraid of shame, familial humiliation, and embarrassment.
Y'all gotta let me know in the comment section if y'all believe any of this. I wouldn't put nothing past nobody. I love Smokey Robinson music and everything he did as far as entertainment go, but we don't know the person behind the music. We don't know the person behind the mask. We don't know what he do in his personal life, what he done, what he into. They say a lot of strange things about a lot of the Motown legends. Did y'all hear the rumors that Marvin Gaye was a serial killer? I can't even listen to his music no more because of the accusations that's been made. It do sound like some miserable, sad, maniac music when you go back and listen to it. And with Smokey Robinson, it's going to be hard to listen to his music now. All of them circus songs, you're going to be thinking about him with a face full of makeup, living like a clown, chasing them old women around the house when all they trying to do is clean up.
The stigma that still exists in some cultures that unfortunately blames a rape victim for the assault perpetrated against them. And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment. So throughout their dreadful experiences with Mr. Robinson, all 4 women remained silent because many of them worked at the same time. Too embarrassed to reveal their assaults by Mr. Robinson to each other. Once they broke their silence, an avalanche of emotions began to flow between them. Hence, they're all here today. These courageous 4 women have collectively decided to come forward and share their experiences of being sexually assaulted by Mr. Smokey Robinson and stand up for their rights, as well as the rights of other women. Particularly those that may be victimized by him in the future. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped. We further believe that these 4 women's testimony as to Mr. Robinson's sexual assaults and battery against each of them will be unassailable and compelling. Our clients, these 4 courageous women, want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step of their journey to achieve that objective. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Herbert Hayden. I just want to echo some of the sentiments that you just heard from my partner, John Harris. We want to applaud our clients, these 4 women, for the courage that they've demonstrated since they've retained us as their attorneys to bring them justice, to bring to light what they have endured for countless years until they decided that they'd had enough and left the employment of the Robinsons. So with that being said, at this point in time, I'd like to take your questions regarding the case. We'll go right here with the...
I just want to, what brought these women together? Did they share their stories together? Because it sounds like some of the employment overlapped. Did they know what was going on with each of them? And did that then cause them to say, wait a minute, this isn't just happening to me, we can come together as a group?
I don't want to get too much into the particulars of the initiation of the lawsuit. Obviously, the women all worked together. Some of their shifts did overlap, and there was a common thread between them that led to the filing of the lawsuit today. For any further questions, I direct you to our email address, press@harrishayden.com.
Can you talk about Frances Robinson's role in the alleged misconduct, what she did and what she is accused of?
Well, I think that the complaint speaks for it in great detail. We believe she was aware of the misconduct by her husband, Smokey Robinson, and that she used their status as well as our client's reliance on their living wage in order to keep them in check. And so we believe that, among other things, is what brings Ms. Robinson into the case.
Oh, dish soap is on sale. We need it?
Yeah, I think we need ketchup too.
What's in there?
Do you expect that they will be filing charges with the, will they file complaints with the police as well so that they can investigate this as a criminal matter?
We have not been contacted by the district attorney's office yet. Obviously, we're more than happy to cooperate as best we can.
Does a police report though have to be filed by the women in order for the DA to then proceed?
Well, again, no police reports have been filed by our clients as of yet, given their fear of having done so.
But where do you stand on that? Do you want your clients to file a police report now that they've retained you as their lawyer?
I think that's something that we need to discuss with our clients before we cross that path.
Because based on the disturbing allegations, don't you feel like this is something that law enforcement should investigate?
Well, I do think so. Yes, I do.
Are you able to identify Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, and 4? Obviously not their names, but just who's who?
I'll let Mr.
No,
Harris.
we're not inclined to identify them as such and help in that regard. We want to maintain their privacy. And for that reason, we don't want to say who's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You guys are good at what you do, and it wouldn't take long to figure it out.
Our purpose isn't to identify.
Okay, understood. But we're going to keep them anonymous as possible to ensure their privacy.
You mentioned their status being used against them. Are the women undocumented, and were they specifically threatened with their legal status?
So that is not an allegation that we're making. We believe that the fact that these women are Hispanic, they come from cultures that sort of demonize the accusers of rape and sexual assault, that stigma was used against them by the Robinson. Obviously, the employer-employee relationship had a big factor in that as well.
But you won't comment on their immigration status?
Not at this time, no.
I do have a specific follow-up to that question. So in the complaint specifically, it says that one Jane Doe feared obviously losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, to also include the possible adverse effect on their immigration status. So you just said that you weren't claiming that. Can you clarify that?
Well, I think what we mean by that is that obviously within the Hispanic community, particularly in this climate, there is a fear of reprisal based upon any insinuation that there is an immigration issue. So I think that speaks for itself. And they're.
I don't get how these brothers be going at these brothers the way they be doing. Every time there's an allegation about a black man, it's a black man there to verify it, even though they don't even know all the details. This is getting crazy. You would think that it would be the women hating on men, but women ain't hating on no brothers like that. It's brothers hating on brothers. They talking about immigration. These ain't even no sisters going after Smokey Robinson, but you got brothers validating it in the news. I just don't understand. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I got so much love for y'all. I really do. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button too. And one more thing, subscribe to my channel if that's what you want.
Subscribe to my channel if that's what you want. But if that's not what you like, then you must be a punk. Hold on now, here we go. Who is this girl? She got that junk in her trunk. Baby girl, back it up, poke out your rump. It's S.A.T that you want, and my music hit so hard, make you say, oh my.